Boom, here we go. All right, we are live. It is Wednesday. It is 6:30 in the East Coast, and we're going to solve your PMP problems. My name is Scott Payne. I'm here to solve your PMP problems. I am going to simplify everything for you like we do every single week. So if you're here, log in. Let's get going. I see people in there. Chat. Put your answers to the stage. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to get right down to it because I know you don't want to waste any time. All right, so live PMP Q&A with Scott Payne. That's my name. Today, we're going to go through how to get exclusive private coaching with me. Now, I got a special little thing that I'm going to talk about right now. Now, if you want to get into a coaching call, and I'm just doing this because we just released these new flashcards. They are super duper double awesome. I'm going to put the little thing in the chat on Amazon. I'm having a private session where I'm going to go through the awesomest special coaching tricks and all the tips for how we go through PMP hard questions and simplify them. This is just for dudes that come and get these flashcards. So go on Amazon, get the flashcards, and then send me an email that says, "Hey, Scott, I got the flashcards. Shoot me a little, picture or whatever, and I'll let you in this call." I'm capping it to about 10 people. It's going to be private. It's going to be really focused. It's going to be me and y'all talking. So go on Amazon, get it, go through there. Let me put it in there right now. For the 1,000 dudes that are watching this thing, where are they? Boom, put it in there. Amazon, go get the flashcards. All right. So you go get the flashcards, and then I'm going to put a live coaching call. It is just for people to get there, and we're going to have a bunch of fun, and I'm going to help you become way better. So that's out of the way. What's the next thing we're going to do today? I'm going to teach you PMP question solving secret number 10. Now, that means we have 9 before that and a couple after that, but I'm giving you number 10 because I like it. All right. We're going to give you an example. Now, what else are we going to do today? I'm going to teach EVM to all of you out there that are really bad at math, like this person that's writing me, they're bad at math. They're bad at EVM. I'm going to make it super duper simple, have you understand it today. So we're going to do that. And lastly, we're going to answer your questions live on air. So type them down below and we'll go from there. So here we go. All right. So what are we doing first? Let me jump to big screen. All right, cool. It has been a good week. We've had I think 12 people passed the PMP. 11 of them got 3 above targets this week with the Accelerator. Dude, the biggest thing that we got to think through if you're out there is think situationally. Think in a way that you can put yourself as the hero or heroine of the game, as I'm pulling up the next slides, and we'll go through there. So let me get out of this. And here we go. Boom, 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 boom. That's the dude that passed. Here we go. Let's pull out a little bamboo notebook. All right, so what's next? Here we go. All right, so question solving technique number 10. Now I'm going to pull it up here. All right, so let me tell you a story. Like the way people, I'm going back full screen. If you think about how you say phrases and what sticks in your head, let me ask you 2 different ways. All right, so if you said, "Hey, this is a lot of work, but you're going to pass at the end," or "You're going to do really well." "Hey, this is a lot of work, but you're going to do well at the end." How does that feel? Does that feel any different than saying you're going to pass, but it's a lot of work? Which one sticks in your head and seems more negative? It's a lot of work, but you're going to pass. Or you're going to pass, but it's a lot of work. Well, what I want you to get through in your brain, that the way our brains somehow are organized is when there's a statement that has a but in the middle or an and or something in the middle, something that cuts a sentence up, we automatically jump to the last thing, all right? So we go, "Oh, it's a lot of work." And then, "Ooh, there's a good thing on the back. You're going to pass. It's going to be awesome. You're going to have a great day." All those things. And you tie yourself to the back. You tie yourself and you kind of that frames how you leave the conversation. You feel better with that. Now, if we flip it the other way and the bad stuff's on the front. So let me draw it. Okay. Let me draw right here. Let me tell you what I'm meaning. All right. So we're going to put it in blue because I like blue. And we say, if there's a good thing at the beginning, and then there's something in the middle, it's a but, there's an and, there's a something, and then a bad thing at the back. You and your brain will automatically think negative. Think about it. Like if you were to tell your kids, "Hey, you're going to do really well, but it's going to be a lot of work. You're going to have to stay up all nights. You're going to have to memorize all this junk. You have to everything." They'd be like, "I don't want anything to do with it," right? But if you said it this way, "Hey, it's a lot of work. You got to memorize stuff, which you don't have to do on the PMP exam. Like you got to work really hard. You got to do this stuff. But when you finish, oh man, you're going to feel so good. You're going to get all these prizes. People are going to love you. the last thing that you talk about leaves you with a smiley face. Okay, so why am I telling you this? Because a lot of the answers and the reason why you're having difficulty solving them is because the last end of the sentence, either the bad part or the good part, is dictating what you think about the answer. It's taking you for a ride, okay? And so this bad part, you end up seeing that and you start talking yourself out of the answer. You're saying like, I don't know, I really don't like it or whatever. But if it's good, and this is the part that's super duper dangerous, if the last little bit's good and it leaves you with that positive taste in your mouth, you end up tricking yourself and talking yourself into being like, yeah, the bad's not that bad and it's okay. And maybe we would do that. And probably you have to think about this. So you ended up tricking yourself and making this bad be kind of good. And then at the end of the day, you go, all right, I'll pick this answer. But in reality, it was bad. So you should have dropped it. So this method that I'm talking about right here that we go through, I'm calling this, what would you call it? I don't want to erase that. I want to erase. I hate this thing. I want to call this, to stick in your brain, I want to call it all or nothing, okay? It's called all or nothing. When you look at answers, I write like a doctor. And like when you see it there, when you see the answers and there's a but, there's an and, there's something in the middle that splits the sides of the conversation, you've got to ask yourself, does both sides of it get a check mark? Yes, it's valid. Yes, it's the right solution to that problem. Yes, it's what I would do on both sides. If one of them is like a smiley face and the other is a frowny face, throw it away. Don't even hang around. It's not the way you want to do it, okay? So as we go through this, and I just realized I was drawing on the screen and I didn't even do it. All right, I'm sorry, dude. Like all or nothing. That's what we're going to go through here. I'm going to do it again real quick. And it's going to, oh man, somebody got to get a production assistant to help me out here. What I meant here is, let's think about it again, just so you can see it, right? If there's good on the front, but bad on the back, you talk yourself out of the question, which is not a bad thing. But you get like lost in it, okay? But if there's bad on the front, this is dangerous, and then but or and, whatever, in the middle, and there's good on the back, you end up talking yourself into liking this, and it's not good. Sorry for not showing it on the screen, whatever. All right, and so let's see this in action, all right? So let me bounce back to the regular screen. Let me pull up a question, and let me show you how this works. All right, so here we go. Boop, 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 boop. Switch it around, switch it around. Hope everybody's having a good day. Put your questions down below. What kind of questions do you have for PMP in the PMP world? All right, so here we go. Let's jump up to number one. And you know that all the questions we follow through the same kind of methodology and never stop. It's the same thing. It's what I created. It's the best policy in the world for leading through questions. So the first thing we do is we always align ourselves with the answer and we go to the last line. So why would an agile incremental project approach be the safest choice in this context? And let me just highlight what I'm looking at right here. All right. Right here. That's what we're looking at. So why would it be? So we're aligning ourselves to that. Number two, we try to understand what the real problem is and we go back to here, right here. Okay. We say a new product development project is to be initiated in a difficult business context. Competition is driving prices down and supply costs are rising. That's terrible, dude. So think about that. New product development. All right. So we're cranking something out. It's going to be initiated in a difficult business context. We got competition fighting us down. They're driving that cost curve down. Man, that makes it tough. And supply costs are rising. So costs are going down, or, our profit would be going down because, the prices are going down and our costs are going up. That's a bad situation. All right. And so why would agile incremental be the best approach? All right, so we understand, well, be the best approach. We just come off the bat saying, what would we assert as our answer? We'd say, well, let me ask you out there in TV land, why would incremental or agile incremental be the best approach? Well, anytime we want to release something and it's in a very, difficult, highly competitive market, we want to spend as little time as possible getting something out there, getting feedback, tuning what we're doing so that we can meet the customer's needs, right? That's what we want to do. And so here, what we would want to do is say, agile and incremental, that creates the conditions where we can, move quick, get it out there, get some feedback. So that's what we would think, right? So let's evaluate the answers. That's what we're talking about. And we're going to use this new lens that we talked about, all or nothing. So we want to look right off the bat. We're going to just look for fun for the words and or but. All right. So I'm still here. Sorry. My little face goes. Let's look for them. Where are the words and but? So first section, first sentence, it says, it ensures that the project can be canceled at any time without loss. There's a little deviation. There's a front and a back here. Canceled at any time without loss. There's an and right here. We're going to cut this in half. There's an and right here. There's an and right here. So each of these answers is essentially two pieces. So let's look at them and let's use the lens of like, what does the first half and what does the second half say? Okay. All right. So here we go. The front half. Why would an agile incremental project approach be the safest choice in this context? Let's look at A. Because it ensures that the project can be canceled at any time. We just stop there. First half. Does an agile incremental process ensure that the project can be canceled at any time? Well, I mean, like any project can be canceled at any time. So, I mean, yeah, maybe, but not really related to that. So let's put like a kind of a question mark there. It's not like definite because of this methodology versus another one. I don't know. And then without loss. Oh, that's the second half. Can agile incremental projects be canceled without any kind of loss as he gets into it? No, of course not. Like all projects, the invested capital, the invested time, the resources, all these things, we would definitely lose some. So that half and half, one half is a question mark, one half is an X, definitely bad. All right. But it helps to segment our brain. All right. So let's look through here additionally. Look at B. We're going to read the first half and see, would an agile incremental project approach help because it accelerates delivery of business value? Well, does agile help accelerate business value? Of course. Yeah, so that half looks good. Yeah, I love it. And let's ask if agile incremental, the back half, minimizes the risk of irrelevancy. Well, yeah, because if we're moving fast, if we're getting feedback, if we're talking to the customer, if we're talking to the market, or we're getting, learnings from it, it reduces or minimizes the opportunity for it to be irrelevant as we get it there, because we're not just betting on one big Christmas present at the end of the year. We're going a little thing. So yeah, I like the back half too. So like a positive and a positive, that's like double positives. Like that's a good thing, right? So that's cool. Now let's look at the front half and the back half of the next one. Agile incremental because it reduces team size. Huh? Like team size? Like not like there's nothing in the Agile practice guide or Agile manifesto or anything like that that says we have to keep the team small by the nature. Sure, we have smaller teams, 6 to 10, 9, but in reality, that's not going to help us, and that's not the safest choice. So like, no, I don't like that. All right. Let's go to the back half. Because it eliminates communication bottlenecks. Yeah, it does. Because agile incremental, like slamming those, like the hierarchical conversations down. Let's learn. Let's conversate. Let's get the transparency going. So like the back half is good. And if we just looked, eliminates bottlenecks. You might like it, but in reality, no. Because the front half is bad. Because like a negative times a positive is a frowny face, is bad. So no good there. And then the next thing is it provides stringent methods to reduce cost of quality. Like, I mean, maybe because like we're sticking closer to, we're learning faster, all these things. We're not passing on defects down the road, I guess. Stringent methods, I don't know if it's like stringent methods, but I'll give it a maybe. So it's a question mark. And conformity, the back half. Like we're trying to get conformity. I mean, we're trying to get the sprint or iteration goal completed. Like confirmation to that. We're always defending and guiding toward that sprint goal. But conformity doesn't feel exactly right. So question mark and question mark. So in my chicken scratch, we see that like, boom, the right one was that. When we had front half positive, back half positive. We like it. Good plus times good is good. And then like, this is possible. Yeah, like we'll just call it good. You can cancel it anytime. Yeah, but back half is no good. Reduces team size. Like maybe we're going to call it like, not really. Eliminates communication bottlenecks. Yeah, that's good. So negative times positive is negative is bad. Stringent methods reduce cost of quality. Not so much stringent. So we're going on negative and negative. All right. So that's how we look at it. If we think about the positive and the negative, each half of it. So just if you're lost in a question, you might just want to like separate the two sides of it. Separate the two sides of the answers. Look for those ands, buts, thens, whatever the transition words are, and play on either side. Okay? So that's just like a little trick. We got tons of them more, how to look at questions, because what you need when you're on the exam is you need an approach and lenses, if you will, to be able to look at answers and make the right assumptions, make the right assessments. Because you're going to need like different ways to look at answers because they're all going to be mixed up. They're all going to be situational. They're all going to be confusing, etc. Okay? So we got to go through there. All right. So we got about 14 minutes left before I go on live coaching calls for the rest of the night with students. It's going to be awesome. If you want to be involved in those, we go through hard questions like this. I listen and ask questions back. It's the most engaging hour and a half in PMP. And if you want to be part of it, just put down chat below. I'll let you in the call tonight or email me at scott@pmmasterprep. All right. So what we want to do is we want to ask ourselves, like, who out there is scared of math? No, I'm not. But like, who else is scared of math? We want to go through this and walk through it. So in the chats, like, is anybody in the chat scared of EVM? Like, if you got the whole test full of EVM, would you quake in your boots or anything? Come on. Tell me now. Let's go. All right, so I'm going to teach you a really easy way to understand EVM, okay? Now, as we get into this, what color should I choose? I like the blue. The way, yeah, Monica, I love EVM, Robert says. I love it too. Monica, I don't think we know each other. You want to go to coaching call tonight, Monica? Yes, no, maybe so? If you do, email me at scott@pmmasterprep. I'll let you in a coaching call after this. And we'll see how good you are at questions, and we'll just give you some advice and build up. Robert will be there. I'll be there. Everybody will be there. So it'll be cool. All right. So what scares you the most, Monica, after you email me about EVM? Like, what's the thing that scares you the most? Text it in there. What scares you the most? Once she does that, I'm going to teach you how to think about it. So the big things, if you were to bet all your money on what you need to know for EVM, I'd say the biggest thing is, how do I calculate and interpret schedule and cost variance and CPI and SPI? Those are the big ones. Now, I can teach you all the stuff very, very easily, but I can also teach you schedule variance and how to think about it really, really quickly, like right now. Like, I'm going to do it in, let's just say, 7 minutes. All right? So you know nothing, 7 minutes, you'll know it. Not enough knowledge on EVM to calculate the problem. That's reasonable. All right, so Monica, the thing that we got to know here is we got to know how to read the problem and pull out the information that's valuable. Okay, and there are 4 values that you need to know in any EVM problem. And the problem that most people have is they don't start with these. Okay, so do you know what those are, Monica? Could you tell me what 4 important variables are? I'll give you 17 points if you get at least one of them. Tell me what one of the important base variables that we would need to know. What do you think they are? Any ideas? All right. They are plan value, PV. Cool. There's earn value, EV. And there's AC, actual cost. The other one's budget at completion. We'll get to it in a second. All right. So if we look at our equation or questions and we find these values, we're on the road to solving it. Without these, EV, yay, Monica got it right. Love it, dude. Monica, did you send me an email yet? Let me check my email. Nothing yet. Send it to me. I'll get you in coaching call. All right. So here's the way you need to think about it. I want you to think of these 3 things, these 3 variables, as 3 different people. All right. So go on a walk with me. Here's what we need to do. We visualize PV as a person that works on your project. This is what he looks like. He shows up wearing a little top hat to work. He's got glasses. He's a happy dude. All right. And so what this guy does is he works on your project, and all he does for you, he shows up with his little briefcase. He just comes to work every day on time, and he's been there forever. All right. And he's great, but he's not that awesome. And all he does is he goes into his little office. So let's just draw his little office there. There you go. Mr. PV. We're calling him Mr. PV. So think about him as a real person. See him walking into the job? And what he does is he saddles up at his desk right there, and he has something on his table, and it kind of looks like this, and it breaks down time. And all he has in his little room, he doesn't have windows. He has a door because that's how he got in. But that's all he's got. He's got a little chair he sits on. Cool. He's got a standing desk, whatever. And all he does all day long is he looks at his little clock as it spins and spins and spins. And he says, hey, this is the schedule. And he says, based on where we are in the schedule, I can't write, this is where we should be. That's all he knows, because he has that schedule on his table, and he says, we started the project January 1st. We think it's going to end January 31st. No problem, Monica. I'll have to attend more often and watch videos where possible. You should do that, Monica. And so what he has on his desk is that schedule. He says it starts January 1st, ends December 31st, so it's a year-long project. And let's say that we're 4 months into the project. So he says we're about 4 months. So based on how the schedule lays out, we should be done with this much of the work. Now, there's no windows in his room, so he has no idea what is done, but he says should be done because we started here, we're 4 months in, we should be done with that. So if the project is worth $100,000, call it, and we should be through, let's just say it's a 10-month project for easier math, okay? It's a 10-month project. We're 4 months out of 10 months in, all right? We should be done with 4 out of 10% of the project, and that equals $40,000 worth of production. That's what we should be done with, based on the schedule. Now, he has no idea what's happening outside his door. He just shows up, he gets in his office, he looks at the schedule, he looks at the time, looks at the calendar and says, we're 40% through the schedule. And what the schedule says is we should be done with 40%. And if the whole project's worth $100,000, we should be done with 40K. And you're like, that's cool. Like, that's relatively like our baseline. That's our theoretical right there. Cool. It's a good component to have, but that's not enough to evaluate the success of our project currently. What we need to know is the earn value. And that's a person I need you to think about is Miss Mears, I guess you'd say Miss EV. And she's a nicer lady, but she's out there and she's got work boots on. These are work boots. And she's out there working the job and pushing people and getting the teams going and all that stuff. And she has a different perspective. This guy's talking about what should be done theoretically in the room with the calendar and then the schedule. This is person's talk about what is done. What value is delivered, okay? That's what she's talking about, all right? And so she goes out there and we ask her, like, Miss EV, what's going on? She goes, well, what's going on is we've gotten done about 50% of the work. So we've gotten like 50% of the work done. I'm like, dang, that's awesome, man. That's awesome, lady. And so we say the whole project's worth about $100,000. We've done half the work. So we've like realized about like $50,000 worth of work. So isn't that cool? 50,000, like, so that's cool. And if we talk to her, it seems like everything's awesome because she's done $50,000 worth of work. Now, by themselves, if you just had each one of those pieces of information, it would be cool, but we wouldn't have any kind of way to understand it. We've got to compare them to be able to make sense of it. So if we should be done with 40,000, but we are or is done with 50,000, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Monica, tell me, is that a good thing or a bad thing? We should be done with 40,000. We are done with 50,000. Is that good? Tell me. It is good. I know you're in there. It is good because essentially what this does is this tells us how we're doing schedule-wise. So our schedule variance is, what is it? It's what should be done, or no, what is done minus what should be done. Make sure that's still on camera. All right. And so schedule variance, really what is done versus what should be done, actually in math terms, is earn value minus plan value. So the math is simple, but it seems confusing with these crazy variables. But it's really what is done minus what should be done, the comparison. So our schedule variance is a positive $10,000. And that means we're farther ahead in our schedule than we thought we'd be right now. That's awesome. Now, the SPI, what's cool about this is it's the same equation, EV, and instead of a minus, it's PV, or it's a negative. So we say the same thing. Somebody's got to do the math for me. Is done is 50. Should be done is 40. So that's a 1.2. So that means that we are, for every day we complete a schedule, we actually get done 20% more than we thought. Isn't that cool? That's what it is. And so if you ask the boss schedule-wise, hey, we're doing really great. We're ahead in variance. We're ahead cost performance. If we stay up this, we're going to finish early. That's awesome. Now, the story's not over, okay? Because we got one more person to think about, and that's Mirrors AC. And I made this method up, and she has been around a while. I don't know how to draw people, but this is how I'm drawing her. She's abstract. She's a Picasso. All right, and she's an accountant. Let's put a calculator in her hand. So she's in there, and she's looking at Miss Evie, who's so proud of herself, producing $50,000 worth of work. And she says, Miss Evie, I know you're new and you're doing great, and I think you're doing awesome, but I've noticed some things in the records. I've seen the receipts come in. And you're spending. You spent. So what you actually spent, that's what she cares about, is $60,000. So while you have gotten $50,000, and that's above the schedule, that's beating the schedule, awesome, you actually spent $60,000 to get it done. Miss EV says, like, I don't care. I'm getting the work done. But Miss AC says, you should care. And this is why you should care. Because if we look at this and we bounce back over, she says, well, your schedule variance is good, but your cost variance is we have gotten done. I'll say we have gotten is done minus what we spent to get it done. That's what we care about. Okay, so we have gotten done $50,000 worth of work, but we've spent $60,000 to get it done. And so our cost variance is a negative $10,000, meaning that for every dollar that we put in, we're getting less than $1 out in value. That's a bad thing. All right, so we're behind cost-wise of what we thought we'd spend. And I can prove it by saying CPI is basically EV divided by AC. Same equation, just with there. So CPI is 50 divided by 60. That's about like what? Like 0.8 something? So let me see. 5 divided by 6, 0.833. All right. So that basically tells us for every dollar that we put into the machine working, we get 83 cents of value out. That's bad. So we might finish ahead of schedule. We're going to way overshoot our costs. And we can calculate how much as this thing pops up and tells me the news. Based on like an approximation, we could extrapolate out to say, if we keep spending at this rate, this is what our total cost would be. Okay. And so really to be able to answer SV, SPI, SPI and SV and CV and CPI, all we need to know is these three folks. 1, 2, 3. So visualize them in our head. Look for these keywords. PV, see them in your head, that guy. What should be done? And in the question, you will see the word should most likely, and boom, that's PV. That's that guy. You could say what is done, look for that word. You'll see what is done is EV. And what the actual spend is, that's easy. We've spent this. And the last thing is the budget at completion, which we use to extrapolate out. So that's how we calculate SV, CV, and the PIs, all right? The cost performance indexes and the schedule performance index. Simple as that. So those are like the real easy way to break this down. All right. So hopefully that's helpful for you. It's really, really simple. It's only a couple minutes. Was that helpful, Monica? Maybe. That'd be pretty good. So, all right. That is it for today. We hit it and quit it. If anybody else has got questions, go there. If you go down there and get the flashcards and send me an email at scott@pmmasterprep.com. I'll let you in on this private, I'm capping it at 10 people, coaching call where I'm going to go through the 10 most important question-solving techniques that I've developed through hours and hours and hours of study and working with students. So all you got to do is go to Amazon, buy these flashcards, send me an email. Easy peasy. All right. Well, it's fun. I got to go to coaching calls. I'll see you guys later. Bicycle.